Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at this TMNT movie 2023 Mutant Basic Figure 4-pack from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem line from Playmates Toys. Now unfortunately this is as far as I can take the video because it says this is a set, do not open. So I'm not allowed to open this box and show you the figures that are inside. No, I'm just kidding, obviously. We're going to go ahead and pop this open. Both sides are exactly the same. The reason they came in a box like this is because my local Target didn't have any of the villain figures, but they had them as this 4-pack on Amazon. So I just went ahead and ordered that because I didn't really know when my store was going to get more in stock. So this should be Leatherhead, Bebop, Rocksteady, and SuperFly. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these out of this box here, and then we'll take a closer look at the packaging. So here they are out of the box in their individual packaging. It's not really a gift set or anything like that. It's just these 4 packages put inside that box, almost like a shipping box like a store would get. But yeah, so we have Bebop here. We have Rocksteady. Now I have to admit, I'm not the hugest fan of all these designs. Bebop looks fine enough. I don't really like this weird shoulder thing they have going on with Rocksteady here. This design is really weird to me. I'm trying to keep an open mind and we'll see how the figure goes. A lot of times, even like with Rise of the Ninja Turtles, I didn't really love all those designs, but the figures are still a lot of fun. So I'm going to keep my faith in the fact that Playmates can make some good toys. I will say he's a chonk. I mean, he's very heavy. Bebop feels very heavy as well. But I don't know, this weird like letter L thing he's got going on here with his head is very strange to me, but we'll see how it goes. Leatherhead is another one I'm not hugely sold on just yet, but that might change. I do like how he comes with a shotgun and a holster for it, like Ash from Evil Dead. I think that's kind of fun. So we'll see how this one goes. But then this is the one I'm kind of most excited for. I don't know why. SuperFly just looks really cool to me. I like his giant bug hand. He just looks kind of neat. It looks like he comes with a retro mutagen gun that looks like it's right out of the original cartoon. So pretty cool fly guy. And then again, we just have the cross-sell here. Now, these don't have the mini turtles that we looked at yesterday because those are on the card back only for the Target exclusive ones. And these are not Target exclusive. So we have the 4 turtles, we have Splinter, and then we have our 4 villains here. So it looks like Splinter is the only one I'm missing so far. And maybe I'll be able to find him at a Target or Walmart fairly soon. But yeah, packaging pretty standard. They all have this kind of purple brick background here, have the logo in the corner. When it's not one of the 4 turtles, you get this generic group pose here on the side. So, going to go ahead and get all of these out of the packaging here, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here are the 4 figures out of the packaging. Oh, wait. Yeah, you actually have to connect his arm. It comes separately in the packaging. So, just pop this in. Ugh, that's making a terrible sound. I think we're good now. So here are the 4 figures out of the packaging. Some are a little better than others, but we'll get into it. I guess I'll start with Bebop here just because he's right in the front. So for the most part, I think he looks pretty cool. He's got this WOW tattoo on his chest, and I'm sure there's going to be a joke in the movie where it's actually Mom from his perspective. Either that or he's just a huge fan of World of Warcraft. We'll have to wait and see. But the head sculpt, I think, looks pretty good. I really do like the purple sunglasses. He's got the tuft of pink hair there. I think all the teeth and all the detail there for his tusks and everything. He's got the nose ring. That all looks pretty sharp. He's got the turtle shell shoulder pads here. He's got a hinge and a rotation in the shoulder. And then he's just got a single hinge in the elbow. So he actually doesn't have a rotation in the elbow. And a few of them are kind of like that. He does have a rotation at the wrist, and he's got kind of a swivel side to side for the head. I think it's a ball joint, but you really don't get anything out of the up and down. It's really just side to side. It looks like there should be a waist swivel, but I don't believe that there is. But we have some nice detail around the back. I kind of wish they had painted his tail, because it is molded there, along with this chain going around his waist as a belt. Not a big deal. The way the legs are done, the post is kind of stuck into the body. So you have a hinge that can go front to back. And then if you want to spin that to the side, if you want them to kind of kick out to the side or something like that, So I'm not a huge fan of those kinds of legs. I wish it was a ball joint, but the turtles were exactly the same way. And then he's just got a hinge here in the knee. So again, no rotation at the knee like he had no rotation at the elbow. But the sneakers look good. They're nicely painted. It's got a lot of detail. I mean, for a $10 figure, being as hefty as he is, and for having as much detail as he does, I can't really complain. He comes with this crazy drill gun weapon, which is kind of a throwback to the original toy from the 80s. And speaking of a throwback to the original toy, this is his kind of weapons rack, extra accessory thing here. And he's got that same drill weapon. He's got the trash can lid shield. Those are definite throwbacks to the original toy. And then he's got this kind of like barbed wire club, I guess. And then he's got a little blade up here as well. So really nice accessories. Definitely some throwbacks to the original toys, which I appreciate. And just overall, he's got a pretty classic look to him with the red vest and the purple glasses, the pink hair, the turtle shell shoulders. I like him. I actually think Bebop's pretty great. I don't really have any issues with him. That said, we'll move on to Rocksteady, who I'm just not a huge fan of this weird hunchback design. Honestly, from like the head down, I think he looks perfectly fine. Again, very classic design here with the kind of shirt and the bandolier. He's got the camo pants and the boots. Again, very reminiscent of the original toy. Doesn't have the turtle shell on the waist, but again, not a huge problem there. He's got some, I thought it was a tattoo at first, but I think it might just be arm hair. So once you pop that arm in there, it's pretty solid. I don't think it's meant to come out again. It's just because of the way he's packaged, because he's so big. This is actually like underneath, and you just have to really pop that all the way in. But then you get a shoulder joint here. Can't really go that far, honestly. That's about the range of motion. But you can move it around. He also only has the elbow joint, no spin. But he does have a wrist rotation. Nothing in the waist, but again, you can actually kind of see the post here on this one. Well, if there wasn't so much shadow, you could see it. You can see the post in there. There we go. So that's jammed into that, and so really you can kind of kick forward, or you would have to rotate that to the side to have him kick out to the side. And then again, he's just got the one single bend at the knee. But they're very solid. I mean, like I said, this guy's definitely chunky. And you have some nice paint on the rhino horns, but it's kind of like weathered, I think, on purpose, which I think is kind of a neat design. His eyes make him look like he's kind of sleepy. He's got one metal tooth there, which I think is really neat. Or I guess he's actually got one on both sides. The head just kind of swivels side to side. So there's no up and down at all. It just swivels side to side, which again looks kind of weird when you have this open space. I don't know. I'm trying to warm up to it a little bit. I just think this is a really weird design. I don't know why he's got such a hunchback. But everything else I like. Like from kind of the head down, I think looks pretty good. And I like the weapon, just kind of a very simple blaster there. But again, following theme. He's got a kind of retro-inspired weapon, and he's got the manhole cover shield there. He also comes with a hammer and a knife. So again, they have some pretty excellent accessories here on the weapons racks, which I think is pretty cool. I'm not going to get into, separating them all out, but they do have some cool stuff going on there. So that's Bebop and Rocksteady, the classic duo. I think for the most part, they came out pretty good. I really like Bebop. Rocksteady, I'm trying to warm up to. It's just the design. Like I said, as a figure, it's perfectly fine. I mean, they replicated the design very faithfully, and he's got decent articulation for what he is. The fact that the head can actually look side to side, I think is pretty impressive, given the weird hunchback design. So if you like the design, I think it's a solid figure. I'm warming up to the design, because when I first saw it, I was kind of, what is that? But again, it's kind of grown on me. It's turtles. I can't be opposed to it for too long. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to these two. All right. So next up, we'll take a look at Leatherhead. Leatherhead looks pretty good, I have to say. I like the hat. You got the teeth around the brim of the hat. Got these goggles, which are nicely detailed and nicely painted there for the lenses. Mouth looks good. I like all the teeth. and kind of the shading for like the underbelly, I think looks really, really nice. I do wish the mouth opened. That's kind of a bummer. Does not move at all. The head's on kind of a ball joint, so you get very little up and down, but you do kind of get mostly side to side there. And it seems like the vest could be taken off if you really wanted to try. I'm not going to, but it is a little loose, as you can see, and it's kind of a softer, rubbery plastic. And then you have the holster here for the shotgun, which of course just goes around the back, and that's, again, a softer, rubbery plastic. As is the shotgun, honestly. If we pop this out of the holster, this is, a little bit more malleable than some of the other accessories. I think that's really just because it has to fit in the holster. And it's kind of weird. No matter which way you pop it in there, it's not really big enough. You can see, like, the bottom part here is a little too wide. But then if you put it this way, then the barrel is a little too wide. I mean, it can get in there because, again, they're both kind of a softer plastic. It's just a little weird that they didn't design it. So there's a very clear way it's supposed to fit in there. But what are you going to do? We do have a waist swivel here. We have the hinge and rotation in the shoulder. We do also have a hinge and a rotation in the elbow, so very much like the Turtles. I'm assuming because it's a thinner arm. I guess it's easier to do that. There is a wrist swivel as well, so that can swivel there. Much like Bebop and Rocksteady, this pin, you can get some out to the side movement there because it's kind of put up into the abdomen. Trying to make the leg kick forward is kind of really awkward. You have to turn it all the way and then kind of do something like that. So it's not really much. I mean, you can get some rotation out of that, but it's a little awkward. And then just have a single hinge there in the knee. And then there is a little foot swivel from side to side. Here with the tail, you do have the hinge and a full rotation there. So a lot of nice movement from the tail. Again, nice paint for kind of the underbelly effect. I like that quite a bit. So, I don't know. I'm warming up to Leatherhead. I'm not a huge fan of this design. It's a very kind of vertical design. And it's a little weird, but I get it. It's not bad. Honestly, again, I'm kind of warming up to it. Not my favorite, but not bad. Putting the gun in the hand is a little difficult. But it's, again, kind of a more malleable plastic, so it can be done. So, yeah, not bad. Leatherhead's looking pretty decent. I do really like the holster on the back. I think that's a fun accessory. I kind of wish you could do more with the tail, but it does make it so that Leatherhead's not going to fall over anytime soon, so I do appreciate that. And then here is the weapons rack. You get the classics, you get the bear trap, you get the knife, kind of a more basic gun there, and then a fishing pole, which I think is actually kind of fun. So again, really neat accessories there. But now we will move on to my absolute favorite of the four, SuperFly. Now, normally when we're dealing with flies, we're talking Baxter Stockman, obviously, from the original cartoon and many iterations thereafter. And I've seen them show character art for Baxter Stockman, but they haven't said they're the same character. They might not be. I really don't know what kind of approach they're going to take in this movie. If they're going to go kind of the more classic comic route where animals get exposed to the ooze and become anthropomorphic, or if humans can be in contact with animals and then they can change as well. That's kind of the more original cartoon, aspect of it. So I don't know which route they're going to take. So from the bio, it makes it sound like he was a fly that became, anthropomorphic and not a man that became a fly. So I'm assuming they're going to take the route that the animals get exposed to the ooze and, become human-like, as opposed to mutating humans into animal hybrids. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the movie decides to handle it. But this is a really cool design. I like this a lot. I do kind of wish the pincer hand could open and close. Unfortunately, it cannot. Those two pincers are together. That's a solid piece there. You have a swivel here, which I admit looks a little unnatural, but it is there. He's got this giant arm here, which has a hinge and a rotation. Nothing kind of in the bicep or elbow area, but it's a really cool giant mutated arm nonetheless. Then he's kind of got a more human arm over here, again with a hinge and a rotation. He's got a elbow, hinge, and rotation just like the Turtles or Leatherhead, but nothing in the wrist. The hand there and the forearm are one solid piece. He's got his retro mutagen gun here, at least that's what I'm assuming it is, because that's what it resembles from the original cartoon. The head is just amazing. They did such a great job. I love that sculpt. I also love that he's blue. That's my favorite color, so maybe that's why I have an unnatural bias, and he's my favorite of the four. But I just love this color scheme. He looks great. You have a hinge and a rotation at the neck, very much like the shoulder. So that's what he's got going on for the head there. But the compound eyes are just so well done. They're red, but there's kind of a little hint of black in there. Just all in all, really nicely painted. He's got some hair back here. The wings come in two separate pieces for some reason. So this wing comes by itself in the packaging, and then this is one piece. So you clip this in, and then you clip this in to there. I don't know if he's going to have like a wing ripped off during the movie, and they wanted you to be able to simulate that. I don't know. But then in the legs, you wouldn't think much of them because they're so tiny, but there's actually a hinge and a rotation in the hip. Then you have a hinge and a rotation in his knee. And I was not expecting that, I have to say. I really was not expecting the knee rotation. I think that's pretty cool. I also like this effect that it looks like he burst out of a shoe, which kind of leads to the fact that he's also got kind of human clothes on makes it seem like maybe he's a human that was transformed. So maybe Baxter Stockman is like a flashback or something. I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see, but they haven't come right out and said that this is Baxter Stockman, but just kind of, going off the classic bio of the character, he does become a fly in most iterations of Ninja Turtles. But I love this shoe just hanging off here. Like, he, that was his human shoe, and then he just kind of like mutated right out of it, but still has it hanging around like a little anklet, which is just kind of fun. So I like this guy a lot. I love the color scheme. I love the detail, the paint applications, the amount of articulation I was very surprised by. And all in all, I just think he looks pretty great. It's a little difficult to get his legs to stand, I will say, just because they're kind of at some weird angles. But it's not impossible. You just kind of have to find the right orientation there, and then he can stand. And of course, that's not it. So let's see what we can do. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I like him a lot, but it is difficult to get him to stand. The two little arms down here do not move at all, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Let's see. Can I get him to stand? Maybe. We'll take it for now. He's probably going to fall over. I wanted to take a look quick, though, at his accessories on the weapons rack. Because, lending more credence to the he used to be Baxter Stockman theory, this is that kind of electro turtle zapper that the original Stockman toy came with. So that could be like just an Easter egg, or maybe just a nod to the fact that Baxter Stockman is usually a fly, and as you can see, he fell over there. But you also get some test tubes, some flasks. I'm really not sure. I think that's supposed to be some kind of gun, but it looks kind of flattened. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. But I do really like the inclusion of this accessory. Again, another retro original series or original toy line inspired accessory there. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, these are really fun. I honestly like them a lot more than I thought I was going to. Again, I'm still not a huge fan of Leatherhead, and I keep wanting to call him Rhinox. I need to get out of my Transformers mindset. Rocksteady and Leatherhead, probably my least two favorite out of this set, and now he's just not going to stand at all for me. There we go. Maybe he'll hold out. But yeah, so I definitely think this guy's definitely my number one, hands down. This is the best one out of the four, in my opinion. Bebop's also pretty good. Leatherhead and, Rocksteady, they're okay. They're good figures, let's put it that way. I don't personally love their movie designs, but that's not Playmate's fault. They made some figures that are very solid, very faithful to those designs. They have nice articulation, really nice paint applications. So in terms of figures, I think all four of these are great. It's just kind of me and my personal design preferences. But they're all solid figures. And I mean, again, for $9.99, you really can't go wrong. The amount of articulation, paint applications, and accessories for $10, it's really just kind of perfect. And real quick before we wrap up, I just wanted to throw a couple turtles in there so you could get some size comparisons. And honestly, the turtles are bigger than most of the villains, which I found quite surprising. I feel like these, mutants should be a little bit larger, a little bit more intimidating, especially Bebop and Rocksteady over here. But honestly, Rocksteady's pretty tiny. Bebop's about the same size. They're definitely wider, they're bulkier, but in terms of height, they're all pretty much the same size, which, I mean, from an action figure standpoint, I get it. They're all 4.5 inches consistent. But you'd think that some of them would be a little bigger or a little smaller, but they're really all about the same size. I was kind of surprised. I thought, online especially these two. I feel like these two should be bigger. I mean, just, kind of the scope of one, these two animals, two, these characters as we've seen them in other fiction. They're big, they're bulky, they're menacing. And again, they're fine, but it just seems like they should be a little taller. But I just wanted to throw these guys in here for a quick size comparison. At the end of the day, these are 4 really solid figures. While I might not personally love all of the design choices for the movie, these figures have been recreated faithfully from those designs, and Playmates has really done a good job here. They have great articulation, great paint applications, a ton of accessories, and they're only $9.99 a piece. So that's really, really fantastic. Really great figures out there. I mean, for the most bang for your buck for sure. I definitely think you'd be happy with any of the 4 of these, especially if you're collecting all the turtles for this movie. They're good, solid figures, honestly. Like, Bebop and Rocksteady don't have as much articulation as some of the others, single-jointed elbows and knees, but I get it. For as big as they are, they probably need to be sturdier, and so they didn't want to put that extra swivel there in the knee because of the amount of bulk they have up top. The elbows, I don't understand as much, especially with them being thicker. It feels like it would have been easier to do, but I'm honestly fine with it. I'm not really lacking the articulation there. They're just fun. I definitely recommend checking them out. Like I said, these should be at Target by now, Walmart. I got this box set from Amazon because my Target was out of these. They only had the turtles, and I definitely needed some villains for them. So, yeah, I like them a lot. I do kind of wish some of them were a little bit bigger than the turtles, but I get it from the toy line aspect of it. They're all the same size for consistency, and I can understand that. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. Like I said, my personal bias, Superfly is definitely my favorite. But definitely check them out. All 4 definitely have their charm and warrant, picking up, especially if you're a turtle fan. If you're into collecting turtle stuff, I don't think these will disappoint. I feel like this is kind of the return to form for Playmates. After so many years of like weird releases and re-releases, and they're trying to find their footing, in a world where they didn't have a movie or a cartoon for Ninja Turtles currently. And I feel like they finally got something, and this is their return to form. And they make really solid basic action figures. And for the price point, these are pretty phenomenal. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.